I'm Tomas, and I work for a company called Elastic. You may ask for the Elasticsearch database, Kibana, Logstash, Beats, and some other very, very nice tools. And in Elastic, my job, I work in the clients team. So basically, our job is to help people interact and communicate with Elasticsearch itself. And I work on the JavaScript client, so I'm the person in charge of it. For any kind of issue, I'm the person to blame. Now we are in the process of refactoring it, so I'm trying to have feedbacks from the community and also for the internal developers. And this is what mainly I'm doing with Elastic. Also some conference speaking when I can. And aside for that, I work also a lot in open source. I started 2 years ago, was some summer of 2016, working on an open source project. The name is Fastify, that I presented yesterday. And almost that's it. Actually, I enjoy a lot. Codemotion was, I guess, one of my very first big tech conference that I have attended. So this is my very first time talking in Codemotion, so I'm very happy. It's a check on the list. Okay, did it. And telling you before, my very first Codemotion was here in Milan, 2014. Then there was like half of the size, more or less, of the audience. So I'm very happy also for but then it was inside the university. Now this new hall is very, very nice. So very many compliments also for all the organizations. Very, very nice. We started that project for fun. We were just trying to figure out if we could be faster than the average web framework, maybe even faster than Node.js itself, which is kind of weird since we are using Node.js. In the beginning, we were faster, and we were searching for a bug because we couldn't believe that, but we were faster because we were using some very, very extreme optimization technique, I will say. Then after time, we focused a lot on the developer experience, trying to keep up with the good performance. So in the past 2 years, we worked a lot on how to give the best developer experience with the least overhead in the framework. And we tried to work a lot with the community, try to not sell the framework, say this is the best, you should use it, but this is our idea of how to fix this kind of problems, more specifically how to move between from a monolith to a microservices architecture, or how to handle all the problems related to the distribution of the plugins for handle the future proof of the framework. So basically a very classical problem is that I start using the framework today, in 2 years I'm blocked and stuck on the old code, I cannot update. So we focused a lot on how to fix this issue, which is very nasty thing to. So 2 years after, we started, as I was saying, as a fun project. Now it's well settled. There's a team of 10 people working on it, because we use specification, let's say, for inviting people to work with us. Basically, the name is open source. Basically, if someone starts contributing a lot with the project, we give them the access to the project so they can be part of the team and get more involved. And with that, we grow a lot, especially during the last year. In the last 3 months, we got 3 new team members, which is great. I'm very happy. And yeah, that's it. At the beginning, I was saying it was just for fun. We were just trying to crunch very, very nice numbers. But seen in perspective of a more, let's say, professional environment, so you may want to use it in production, so you have problems to fix. Usually a very classical problem is that you spend a lot of money in cloud machines for your server instances, and if you have a code starting for a framework, but probably also your code should be fast the same way, you can have the same amount of requests per second with less servers, which means a lot of money you can spend in research and development, or maybe founding open source. So that's why I think it's very important to keep an eye over the performance. Also, we do not agree that about that if you want a very, very fast HTTP web framework, you should use something like Go, Rust, or C++, because especially for C++, the user experience is not that nice. So we try a lot of work also with the V8 team, try to figure out which is the best way to get the best performance out of Node. And I'm quite happy with the result, I would say. And how we are benchmarking the code. And there are a lot of opinions about this. It depends by the results of the benchmarks. And currently, what we are doing is basically we are declaring a very, very small HTTP server where we are sending back a standard response. So we are trying to measure the overhead that our code is adding to the general HTTP request. But this is not the perfect benchmark because it's not representing a real-world situation. So we are working on have a complex application and try to compare between frameworks with all the user code, the database connection, and so on, to measure how much is the difference. And the tool that we are using, we wrote some of them for helping us during the development. Everything has been released as open source. And my favorite is 0x. Basically, it's a tool for generate flame graphs, which is a nice tool to see all the core stack of your function inside your code, and if they are optimized or not, if how much time they are taking. So it's a very nice graphical way to see how your code is behaving. And then we wrote also a benchmarking tool. The name is AutoCannon, which is very similar to Apache Benchmark or WRK, but it's completely written in Node. It's very, very fast, and for us it's nice because we can script the test and having our CI environment checking if we are doing something wrong during the testing phase. Yeah, I think it's a successful ecosystem, absolutely, especially because while this maybe an unpopular opinion, but while the rest of the world is mad at JavaScript and yell at JavaScript, the JavaScript world evolved in a massive way. Like when I started, it was just for website, and now you can write a HTTP server, you can have a desktop application, a mobile application, something for control Arduino, so you can do literally everything. So yeah, I think it's very successful. We have to keep the work on all the inclusion, because that's one of the best parts of the JavaScript ecosystem. We try to be very, very inclusive and supportive, and try to throw away all the toxic elements that happens usually in the communities. And another thing that now we have to fix is that on NPM there are, if I remember correctly, about 800,000 packages, which is a massive number. A lot of them are not maintained anymore, but a lot of people are still using them, so we have to figure out a way for still support the heavily used packages, especially for security and bug fixes. There was a few days ago a very, very bad security breach because a maintainer added a piece of code that was basically tried to read the credential for the Bitcoin's wallets, something like that. I don't remember exactly. So now the Node Foundation is working a lot for trying to figure out what is the best way for helping, give maybe some guarantees to the people. The open source, for sure. In Node, if you start to contribute, they after some point they will invite you to work with the code. So a very, very important thing is keep the community involved with the project. That's a very, very good way to keep the project healthy. Then let's see. Absolutely, developer experience is probably one of the most important things. Is a trade-off between developer experience and performance usually. So try to find it's impossible to say the perfect, but the best API design in a way that the people should not have to read the documentation every 5 minutes. That's a bug. So we have to find a way to design a very good and easy to understand API. One of the oldest problems a very discussed problem in the Node community was that a lot of commands were basically, we were using the same names of the Unix commands. So for create a directory, we use fs.mkdir. And if someone is not experienced with all the Unix commands, this will be very, very, there is not be a very nice experience. So all of these kind of decisions will be taken in account when designing an API. I have to say it's not easy. After 2 years of API design, it's definitely not easy. Well, for me actually it's quite easy. I love working remotely. I love working in the complete silence of my house. And the part that I miss the most about working in an office is all the people, so the coffee nearby the machines, the quick chats. But how much I can be productive at my house with nobody talking with me is absolutely, for me at least, there's no way to compare. And the problem with remote working are mainly that it's very easy to get distracted at home, super easy. So you have to have a very, very good attitude. Like you must have a specific place in your house where you just work. You have to dress yourself. You never work in pajama, absolutely not. And so usually the biggest problem, you can feel alone. But for example, in Elastic, we have almost fixed that because we do a lot of meetings with each other, and we have also an always-on call. So if you really feel alone, there is this always-on call where you can see with the webcams other people inside. You feel less alone. But probably how I fix this less human contact issue is go to every conference that I can. So it's a good balance for me.